Ever crossed your mind that maybe it's your fault when a woman or your friends suddenly disappear in the middle of a conversation?
There you are, clueless, thinking the universe conspired against you. But no, my friend, the tragedy is purely you. Lost, not knowing what you did wrong, huh? Today I'm going to lay out the 5 gems you drop during a conversation that make people want to vanish from your life. And don't even think about feeling sorry for yourself, because there's more. If you stick around till the end, there's a bonus for you to understand the full extent of the damage. Now enough small talk, let's fix this nonsense. Number 1, never say you like her too soon. Oh sure, genius. You've been seeing the woman for, 2 weeks, maybe 2 months, and you think it's a brilliant idea to drop an "I like you" out of the blue, right? As if it's a masterstroke. Let me tell you, that's exactly when you throw it all down the drain. Not only are you making a mistake, but a colossal one. Want to know why? You just put a neon sign on your forehead that reads, "Run, I'm too into you for this phase." First, you come across as an overly emotional parrot, the type that says, "I love you" to any woman who barely smiled at you. She's going to think, this guy says that to everyone for sure. And if she's been fooled before, congratulations, you just signed up for the Stay Away Club. She'll put you in the same category as the jerks she's dealt with before and will quickly bail out. Second, you seem emotionally weak. Who in their right mind falls in love so quickly? It looks like you haven't even had a proper conversation, but you're already ready to write a love story. This screams neediness and lack of emotional control. Seriously, who wants someone who can't even manage their own feelings? Nobody wants to take care of a grown child. Now, the icing on the cake. If she has bad intentions, you're done for. You just handed over your soul on a silver platter. She'll realize you're falling harder than a ripe tomato, and she'll use that to her advantage. You'll become a puppet, doing everything she wants just to keep the woman of your dreams. Pathetic, right? So, my friend, swallow that "I like you" until you're sure it's the right moment. And trust me, that moment might never come. So control that loose tongue, because if not, you're just going to dig yourself deeper into a hole. Number 2, don't reveal your intentions too soon. There you go again, rushing, thinking you're nailing it. You go out with the woman, the conversation flows, the night was nice, and out of nowhere, you decide it's a good idea to drop a "I want to date you," or worse, you start planning the wedding, right? Let me explain something. You're digging your own emotional grave. Laying your intentions out too soon is like throwing a bucket of cold water on everything. And guess what? Who takes an unexpected cold shower? No one. First of all, when you do this, do you know what she's thinking? This guy's desperate. You think you'll impress her by being sincere and direct, but what you're really showing is that you're emotionally starving, pathetic even. Any guy who starts talking about relationships or serious commitments without really knowing the person comes off as what? That's right, desperate. And desperate, my friend, equals weak. And if there's one thing a woman doesn't want, it's a guy who's so thirsty for validation that he's willing to dive in headfirst without even knowing if there's water in the pool. Who wants someone drowning in neediness? Plus, you're dumping a bomb of expectations on her. You know that lightness that should exist at the start of any interaction. Well, you just trashed it. By spilling your intentions so early, it's like saying, "I've already decided for the both of us. Now it's up to you to deal with it." Big pressure, right? And do you think she'll want to feel trapped in a situation like that? Nope. She'll be looking for the exit. Because no one wants to be shoved into a relationship they're not even sure they want just because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. And listen, I'll tell you something else. You don't even know the woman yet. So where's this crazy need to lock down long-term commitments coming from? Dotting? Marriage? Really, dude? You don't even know how she treats waiters, her friends, or her family, and you're already thinking about the white dress and the ring? What kind of man jumps in like that, blindfolded? Do you know what that shows? That you're so blinded by the idea of finding the right woman that you're not even paying attention to the real woman in front of you. In other words, you're projecting your dreams onto someone you barely know. That's arrogance and, frankly, a lack of emotional intelligence. Learn to get to know the person before you start mapping out your future together.
Now let's talk about the worst case scenario. If she's got bad intentions,
oh man, you're screwed. By exposing your intentions too soon, you basically handed over your vulnerability on a platter. Know what she'll do? She'll play with your feelings, manipulate you, and have you in the palm of her hand. Because you showed her exactly what you want and how far you're willing to go to get it. She'll string you along, control you, and in the end, when you think you're in control, you'll realize you're more lost than ever. So keep that ridiculous anxiety in check. Want to talk about commitment? Sure, but only when things are solid. Not from the start. Not on the second date. Not in the heat of the moment. Let actions speak louder than words. Watch, get to know the person. Give the relationship space to grow naturally, without that suffocating need to turn everything into a promise of forever. Relationships are built, and if you don't understand that, you'll keep sabotaging any chance of having something that lasts. Number 3, never overshare your problems. Oh man, sit down, because here comes another hard truth to swallow. You think you're doing great when you start unloading all your problems on the table, huh? Even worse, thinking you're being vulnerable and that this will create a deep connection. Well, let me give you the reality check. Nobody wants to be your therapist, and especially not a woman who's just getting to know you. You want to cry over your problems? Go pay a psychologist. Let's get one thing straight. Everyone has problems, but what separates men from boys is the ability to handle them without making a drama out of it. And yeah, sometimes life's going to hit you hard, and it's normal to vent every once in a while, but that needs to be done in moderation. Now, if you think you're going to score points with a woman by dumping your frustrations and complaints on her, congratulations. You just lost whatever little respect you had left. What happens when you do this? First, she's going to think you're weak. And in the real world, do you know what happens to weak men? They're ignored. Because tell me, what woman would want to be with a man who can't even handle his own problems? If you're the guy who spends all his time complaining about life without taking any action, she's going to look at you and think, if he can't handle his own life, how's he going to handle mine? The harsh reality is this. Women want men who solve problems, not men who spend life wallowing in self-pity. And there's more. By dumping your problems so early on, you enter dangerous territory, what I like to call the misery competition. You know that competition no one wants to win but everyone joins? Yeah, that one. When you start talking about your problems, you think you're being understood, but what's she really thinking? That's what bothers you? I've got way worse things to deal with. And boom, your problem is now even more insignificant than it already was. Not only did you fail to earn empathy, but you lost respect. So, my man, control yourself. Want to vent? Fine, do it. But with moderation and at the right moment. And more importantly, don't be the guy who always has a problem. If she starts to see you as the guy who always has a dark cloud over his head, she's going to run faster than you can imagine. And no, you won't win that race. The key here is simple. Show that you're capable of handling your life. Everyone has bad days, but the difference lies in who gets up and solves things instead of drowning in the drama. Don't expect her to solve anything for you because, let me tell you, that's never going to happen. If you want to maintain some respect, stop throwing yourself into the victim role. You are the only one responsible for your problems, and you're also the only one who can solve them. Let your actions speak louder than your complaints. If you're tired of being the idiot she treats like a doormat, who takes whatever crumbs she throws and still gets kicked like trash whenever she feels like it, then wake up. It's time to stop swallowing disrespect and flip this dirty game. Go down to the description and grab the digital book I left for you. After reading it, you'll learn how to be a real challenge, to never bow down again, and to put any woman in her place without remorse. Enough of being stomped on and discarded like a loser. If you want respect, then start acting like a man who commands respect. Number 4, avoid talking about other women. There you are, thinking you're going to be the top dog by bragging about all the women you've been with. Let me tell you something. Not only is that pathetic, but it's completely counterproductive. You think that by mentioning your past conquests and making it seem like you're the king of the club, you'll gain some kind of status. But really, you're just showing how immature and desperate for attention you are. Want me to spell it out? First, with your friends. Seriously, what's the goal? To earn their respect? Sure, some might give you a round of applause, but most of them, they're just waiting for the chance to tear you down behind your back. Because the reality is this. Most guys aren't getting the woman they really want, so when you start bragging about how many conquests you've had, guess what? You're just breeding jealousy and resentment. Congrats. Now you've got a handful of friends who are dying to see you fail. Now, even worse is when you do this in front of a woman you're seeing. That's a shot to the foot, my friend. Do you really think you're going to impress her by talking about your past romantic exploits? No woman wants to hear about how you've been getting with everyone. In her mind, you're not a desirable guy. You're an insecure boy who needs to flaunt his past romantic conquests like they're trophies. And do you know what that shows? That you still haven't outgrown high school? Grow up, brother. And the worst part is, you don't even realize the negative impact it has. Do you know what she's thinking while you're boasting? This guy's a risk. She'll think you're the kind of guy who doesn't take anything seriously, who's just out to collect broken hearts. You lose credibility. And honestly, you don't even need to say a word for that to happen. Just the fact that you feel the need to talk about other women already puts you in a ridiculous position. Now let me teach you how to play the game right. Don't say anything. Exactly. No need to boast, no need to give details. Be subtle, create mystery. Let her draw her own conclusions. Women are naturally curious, and being discreet and mature will spark much more interest than any over-the-top story. And let me tell you, curiosity is a powerful weapon. When you don't lay it all out on a silver platter, she'll want to know more. She'll develop a genuine interest. And that interest, my friend, is worth far more than any cheap compliment you think you'll get with your conquest stories. So do yourself a favor. Keep your mouth shut about other women and focus on the one in front of you. Because at the end of the day, no one cares about your past. They just want to know what you're going to do in the present. Number 5. Never reveal your secrets. Oh, of course, there you are, thinking you're going to be the transparent guy spilling all the secrets of your life, thinking you're going to create that deep connection and score points with the woman, right? Let me give you a reality check. Every time you reveal your secrets, you're not creating a connection. You're falling into a trap. Do you know why? Because secrets are like ammunition, and humans, my friend, love to use that ammo when things go south. Let me break it down for you. You start dating a woman. After 3 dates, you already think it's time to open your heart. So, there you go, sharing that embarrassing story, that time you were cheated on, or any humiliation that scarred you. And there you are, thinking you're being vulnerable, building an emotional bridge. But do you know what you're really doing? Handing over the knife and the cheese for her to cut you down whenever she wants. She'll keep that information like a card up her sleeve, and when something goes wrong, when she needs to hurt you, guess what she'll use? That's right, your own secrets. And as if that weren't enough, there's another detail you need to understand. By revealing your weaknesses and humiliations, do you know how she'll see you? As weak. You think you're building empathy, but what you're really doing is tearing down your posture. Do you know why? Because no one, and I mean no one, admires someone who drowns in their own failures. Sharing stories of overcoming challenges is one thing. Digging up defeats and humiliations is something else entirely. One makes you look strong, the other makes you look pitiful. And do you know what happens when you overshare these things? You lose her respect. Women, and this is a fact you need to tattoo on your forehead, are attracted to men who have posture, who can handle their emotions without falling apart in front of anyone. When you start exposing all your weaknesses, all your past, you're basically telling her, look how vulnerable I am. You can destroy me whenever you want. So do this. Shut your mouth and keep your secrets to yourself. No one needs to know everything. And actually, the less she knows, the better. Mystery is one of the greatest attractions you can have. Let her stay curious. Let her want to find out more without you laying it all out on a silver platter. And when she asks about your past relationships, Answer vaguely, without drama, without details. Show that you're in control of your life, that you've learned from the past, but you don't live in it. At the end of the day, the rule is simple. Never hand over your weakness to anyone. Be strategic, be reserved, and above all, keep control. Number 6, stop being a needy guy. That's right, you're needy, and that's why things aren't working out for you. Do you know what happens when you're constantly seeking attention, sending messages, craving validation? You become a burden, a dead weight, a nuisance. And let me be clear, no one wants to carry dead weight. A woman wants to be with a man, not someone who needs constant reassurance to feel good about himself. If you're the guy who's always there, begging for scraps of affection, sorry to tell you, but you've already lost. You've put yourself in the servant's role, the emotional beggar, and that's the end of the line. You send a message, she takes a while to reply, and you're already eating yourself up inside, wondering what you did wrong. So, next time, you send another message, just to make sure everything's okay, right? Dude, stop that right now. What you're doing is throwing yourself on the ground, extending your hand, hoping someone will lift you up, and let me tell you, no one's going to lift you up. At best, they'll walk right over you. Do you know what the problem with being needy is? You become predictable. And what's predictable becomes boring, tedious, unbearable. She knows exactly what to expect from you. The guy who'll ask if everything's okay, who'll send a good morning, good afternoon, good night message like it's his duty. Where's the mystery? Where's the confidence? That, my friend, died along with your dignity. Because being needy is that. A slow murder of your self-esteem. And worse, the respect others have for you. And there's more. You think you need her approval to feel good about yourself. Let me ask you a question. Who gave you the idea that your value depends on someone who barely knows you? What kind of twisted logic is that? You're begging for attention from someone who, deep down, is putting you on their guys I don't take seriously list. Because, let's be honest, no one respects someone who doesn't respect themselves. So here's the final slap in the face. Grow up. Simple as that. Grow up and understand that you don't need anyone to validate you, to give you attention all the time, to tell you you're important. If you can't see your own worth, no one will see it for you. And do you know what happens when you stop being needy, when you stop seeking that desperate approval? People start respecting you. That's right. When you finally value yourself. When you stop chasing after people like an abandoned puppy. That's when you start carrying weight in interactions. At the end of the day, the message is this. Respect yourself, because no one else is going to do it for you. If you don't stop being needy, you're going to stay stuck in the same cycle of emotional need and dependency. And here's the cold, hard truth. No one wants to be with a guy who constantly needs validation. Want to be taken seriously? Start with yourself. So that's it. If you've made it this far and still don't get the message, my friend, there's no hope for you. The truth is harsh but necessary. Stop sabotaging yourself. Whether it's saying dumb things, oversharing, or worse, begging for attention, you're playing against your own team. And what I'm telling you here isn't just to impress a woman or improve your relationships. It's about being a real man, someone who respects himself, knows his worth, and doesn't depend on anyone's approval to feel complete. The world isn't going to go easy on you. Either you learn to be strong, confident, and strategic, or you'll spend your life being swallowed by your own insecurities. And at that point, my friend, the game will already be over before it even starts. So, from now on, be the guy who commands respect with actions, not empty words. Keep calm, stay reserved, and stop being an emotional burden. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to be around a weak, dependent, or needy guy. And if you keep this up, it won't just be the woman leaving you. It'll be everyone's respect. Now close this video, get up, and start acting. Because if you don't do it for yourself, no one else will. End of story!